Shit, we're actually doing this. Woo! Hello, Internet, and welcome to my favourite films. My name is Joe, and this is a brand spanking new video series where I am going to talk to you about, what else? My favourite films. Now, despite what at least some of you may be thinking, I've had this before. I'm not just a British version of Michael Barrity from the far superior Belated Media channel. By the way, if you haven't seen his stuff, check it out. It's just so good. This very first video, my sincere apologies to those who like the short internet videos with the cats in them. No cats, but also it's going to be longer than the average video on this channel because I'm not just talking about one film today, I'm talking about 10 of my favourite films. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about my 10 favourite films from last year. 2015, the last calendar year. And what more timely timing, that made very little sense. What better timing to be doing so, because tonight it is the 88th Academy Awards. This video, you'll be seeing it after the Academy Awards have happened, so you from there can be like, oh look, he was, none of these were even nominated, what the fuck? Just to clarify, this is not a top 10 list. There's a lot of those on the internet, some people do great jobs on them, some people do pants, and I don't want to do either. It's not a top 10. These are in pseudo-chronological order, kind of the order I watch them in. I'm not a fan of rankings right now. Maybe when I review newer films, I might provide like a rating of some kind. Just listen to what I have to say, which it might be quite a bit, but bear with me, I'm going to try and make it as entertaining for you as possible. Without further ado, on with the show. Matthew Vaughn continues to impress with each directorial effort he brings to the screen. Kingsman, The Secret Service, was a dark horse last year. Mark Millar's source material? Good start. Supercharged filmmaker vision by Vaughn? I was sold from the opening credits. This adaptation is self-aware, sly with sharp humour, and has way more over-the-top action than you'd ever expect from a late January release. Samuel L. Jackson and Colin Firth made for a fine, old-school Bond class and new evil mastermind face-off. However, it was newcomer Taron Egerton. Eggsy plays a character called Eggsy. Egerton makes the transformation from smarter than your average delinquent to baby James Bond seem effortless. I hope we'll see more from him in the next few years.
If I save the world, will you give me a kiss?
I'll give you more than just a kiss.
I'll be right back. Son of a bitch!
Silly? Yes. Superb? Hell yes. All this and more is why Kingsman was my very first favourite film of 2015. From a dark horse to one of the darkest films I've ever seen. The Gift took me by surprise in a way I'm just not used to. It marks actor Joel Edgerton's debut in the director's chair. It seems more and more these days that seasoned actors, I'm looking at you, Mr. Affleck, take their years of observing and learning from their directors and spin it into cinematic gold! My friend Peter and I were reeling in the cinema and couldn't stop talking about this film after we experienced it. To say much more would give away the film's greatest strength. The story creeps up on you, takes hold. It defines uncomfortable, and you feel Rebecca Hall and Jason Bateman's unease as Edgerton's character Gordo reveals more and more about what lies behind the film's title. You might have missed this thrill on the big screen. Seek it out now. Turn down the lights and prepare for fear. Alright, film fan confession time. I haven't seen any of the Rocky films, not a single one. I don't know if the jury is still out on whether writer-director Ryan Coogler's second film is allowed into the official Rocky ring, but to be honest, I don't care because Creed is boxing clever. Did I mention that Creed is all about boxing? Did I say that there'd be awful forced boxing references throughout this part? No? Well, lace up those gloves. I don't know how to lace up gloves. And throw in the mouth guard, because this one goes all 12 rounds. Still, I would do Creed a disservice to say it's all about boxing. This is a journey about how family ties can not only break you down, but also build you up into the person you want to be. Sylvester Stallone shows us his best work in years. He's funny, but doesn't pull any emotional punches. Same goes for Michael B. Jordan, No amount of fantastic failure will slow down this powerhouse of a performer. You believe every hit, and the film hits where it counts.
Looking at the world through the TV, a day room, rapping over beats. They made electric chairs for us 9 days. Last meals, no pills, then to try and stay on death row like Suge in a late pot. Maybe he could dig a tunnel while the A block.
Check it out. This is the first of 2 war story films on my list. Set firm in the present climate of murky modern warfare, Sicario chills you to the bone with its grit-laden look at the battle to take down the head of a Mexican drug cartel. Emily Blunt sets the new standard, leading the acting charge as an FBI agent whose ideals are put to the test by Josh Brolin's undercover CIA officer and Benicio del Toro as the Sicario of the title, Spanish for hitman. Cinematographer Roger Deakins is 66 years old, but he shoots it as though he's there with the task force. Every aspect of Mexico is made menacing. Traffic frozen on the Bridge of the Americas as the Delta Force leaves Juarez with a hostage is a sequence that makes your heart stop. Dusk turns to pitch black night in scenes leading up to Mexico infiltration. Deakins uses every colour the Skies palette has available, and even makes brilliant use of night vision once it all goes dark. The intense action engrosses you so much because you don't know which way the plot will twist next, or who will turn out corrupt or champion of the cause Blunt thinks she believes in. All at once it's intricate and seamless. Masters at work. Make this one to watch, even if you've already watched it. The second war film on this list, and the first based on a true story, Bridge of Spies, comes from the legendary Steven Spielberg, collaborating once again with the tremendous Tom Hanks. Legacies aside, these 2 gentlemen know exactly what they're up to. Alfred Hitchcock's influence on Spielberg's vision is felt more than ever before in this tense thriller. Prepare to feel the edge of your seat for the entire runtime. I always do my best to go into a film clean. No trailers if possible, no external influence on the experience. As a result, I knew very little going into Bridge of Spies. This was the best strategy. As Tom Hanks' insurance lawyer becomes more of a negotiator, the plot thickens. The complexity never confuses though, because the script is tight and the tension holds throughout. Unless you know what really happened, you're never sure of where the film is taking you, and that's only a good thing in my book. Hanks, spellbinding as ever. Combined with Spielberg's ability to take the Coen brothers script, yes, this is penned by the excellent eloquence of Joel and Ethan Coen, and infuse it with Hitchcockian suspense, boom! You have yourself another masterpiece from seasoned craftsmen. I'll be honest with you all here. When feelings are portrayed with a deft hand, I cry at the drop of a hat. Disney Pixar's Inside Out is the only film where that was quite literally the case. Joy, sadness, anger, fear, disgust. Those are the feelings that take centre stage in our protagonist's head. Riley is an 11-year-old girl moving away from her friends and familiar surroundings into a big city because of her dad's new job. This means new school, new house, nowhere to play hockey and no friends. This is a formative time in her life, a time where the emotions who keep a delicate balance inside the headquarters of her mind struggle to maintain control. Joy and sadness become separated from the others between Riley's islands of personality. They must fight to return to the headquarters of her mind and safeguard Riley's core memories. It's a bright, bold film full of wonder. All at once you're there with every feeling. Joy's happiness emphasised by the gentle piano music, the blue sorrow in Sanders' slumped demeanour, the hot-headed red rage, discussed social strategies, and fears potential terrors present in everyday moments. Your train of thought races through all of these as we follow the journey of joy and sadness growing with Riley. They realise that not every core memory can just be happy, much in the same way as we learn while we grow up. In terms of visual and conceptual execution, Pixar is going to have a hard time topping this funny, frank, fantastic look, inside and out of mind.
Signal the husband.
Uh-oh, she's looking at us. What did she say?
What? Oh, sorry, sir. No one was listening.
Is it garbage night? We left the toilet seat up. What? What is it, woman? What?
The next film is one that I know divided audiences. This series isn't my divisive films, so you already know I loved it. Fortunately, despite having dinner and drinks with the writer-director of this film late last year, the only bias that serves this favourite film of mine is that I'm a massive nerd. In case you couldn't already tell. Yeah. Avengers: Age of Ultron delivered everything a great sequel should. A more in-depth exploration of the main characters, check. An expanded cast that doesn't go over the top, check. A charismatic yet cruel new villain to threaten our heroes and the world's fate, check. All-out action with wit and some sentiment, check, check, and check. The first Avengers is a tough act to follow, but boss Joss Whedon is more than up to the task. A taste of Thor Ragnarok's apocalyptic tone, Bruce Banner's battles with his angry alter ego, hints at unrest between Steve Rogers and Tony Stark. This is a lot to juggle. And I'll admit, there's times where it looks like it might just buckle. Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch do not get enough screen time. Thor's hot tub adventure could have been so much more, but that doesn't detract from the film's ace in the hole, Hawkeye. A soldier mind-controlled in the first movie where he had the chance to make an impression, now we see the real Clint Barton, the man behind the bow. Jeremy Renner is the beating human heart inside Age of Ultron's dark vibranium chest. Even better after multiple viewings, the Marvel Cinematic Universe grows more expansive and keeps up the high standard. Let's get something straight right now. The director of the most fucking insane, incredible, unbelievable action film in recent years is 70. George Mad Max Miller is 70 years old. Mad Max Fury Road is action, but not as you know it. Mental motor vehicle combat, pole vaulting between the explosions from said mental motor vehicle combat, barreling across the dry, arid desert in one supercharged mental motor vehicle to escape an entire mental motor vehicle fleet. It is mad. The pace is relentless, but even in the brief moments where it does let up, the raw passion of the performances is shown. Max may be the franchise-carrying name in the film's title, but this is Imperator Furiosa's film. Charlize Theron is a revelation as this woman on a mission. Save a harem of brides from this dominant, malevolent, repulsive overlord and the patriarchal society that he holds court over. Miller does what men half his age can't. He takes you on one hell of a ride and doesn't let you forget that it's not just action for action's sake. This is a film with drive, with purpose. The chaos isn't mindless. It's about something. The purpose goes just as fast as the action and the crazed cars, rising up to the fore and then some. Mad Max Fury Road isn't just one of my favourite films of 2015. It is without any doubt one of the very best films of 2015.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Because of this next film, I am thankful. I'm thankful that I watched this film before I made this video. I'm thankful that this list now has a film starring one of my favourite actors in it. And, most of all, I'm thankful that I got a chance to experience this underrated and overlooked gem. The Walk. Directed by Robert Zemeckis and starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt in the lead role of Philippe Petit, based on the very real artistic escapade executed by Philippe in the 1970s. This film is pure cinematic magic. To illustrate just how impactful this film is, I have to tell you that I didn't watch it on the big screen, not even on a small screen. I watched it on a tiny screen. My headphones blocked out the sound of the plane flying high at 30,000 feet, and the world fell away. Much like Philippe himself when he began to walk across a wire rigged between the two immense towers of the World Trade Center, my focus was only on the walk. The documentary about this same adventure, Man on Wire, received a lot of exposure when it was released back in 2008. The walk, however, received very little fanfare when it came out towards the end of last summer. I've said it already, but I'll say it again. Magic. In the final scenes that depict Philippe's death-defying act, I felt a glorious tingle when the music soared high as the French daredevil. I'm rather tempted to detail that sequence, but I don't want to spoil it for anyone. Ben Kingsley and Charlotte Le Bon are both the cables that support JGL's great central performance. Perhaps you brought them to life, given them a soul. Annie, Charlotte Le Bon's character, says this to Philippe after they celebrate his triumph at a restaurant. They stand there, gazing up at the towers, and it's true. For those of us who couldn't be there, whether the events brought to our screens are real or fictional, that's what film does. Brings them to life, gives them a soul. I'm a filmmaker because I want to make films that do that. I want to create that feeling, not just for myself, but for everyone who watches it. Watch The Walk. Watch it, and you'll know exactly what I mean.
My head is full of doubts. When it's time to step on the wire, I don't know if I'll be able to take my first step.
Your heart will tell you what to do.
The man is obviously crazy. Are we just here to watch him die?
Anyone who knows me knows this, but for the benefit of any new viewers, I'll tell you now one thing that everyone who knows me knows. I adore Star Wars. In case you could tell. I always have and always will. I can recount the original trilogy with nigh perfect detail, could talk about my favourite characters and scenes for hours on end. I won't though. Not yet at least. Star Wars The Force Awakens was everything we'd all hoped for and more. Like opening a brand new toy you've been excited for all year. It was the most fun I had at the cinema in 2015. Ignoring the confused and cluttered prequels, J.J. Abrams' first foray into the Force introduced compelling new characters alongside old favourites and sent the crowds into a frenzy. It was the only film I saw in IMAX 3D last year, and the only one I needed to. The Millennium Falcon flew from Jakku in front of my eyes, and I was there. Doing what my favourite films always do, I was thrust through hyperspace and found myself in a familiar setting, but seen through a whole new lens. Nostalgia be damned, it was the very same feeling I cherished watching Luke, Han, and Leia wage the very first war against the evil Empire. It didn't just come from the thrill of hearing Chewie as he brandished his bowcaster. It was in seeing Rey, Finn and Poe take the torch that they were passed by the old guard. It captured that sense of adventure that we all want at the cinema. As such, I could go on for many more minutes, but I think it's best to let a few other fellow fans and the director himself speak for the latest entry into the series. As aforementioned, this is a brand new video series, but if you click the link here, down in the description, or in the top right if you're watching on a phone or tablet, you'll be taken to my other channel, Facing the Crowd, where I recently made a video all about The Force Awakens. I hope you've enjoyed this inaugural episode of my favourite films, and if you have, please click the thumbs up to like the video on YouTube, share it everywhere you can, and subscribe to both this channel and Facing the Crowd if you like what you see there. For those of you savvy on social media, like my favourite films on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Joe Medforth for all the updates, and look out for new videos, reviews, giveaways and more throughout the rest of the year. Oh, and if you'd like to know what my next video will be about, here's a little clue. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. I'm Joe, and those were my favourite films of 2015. Cut.
My favorite films.